and welcome back to Sustainable Teacher. If it is your first time here, my name is Leticia and I'm glad to meet you. And if you've been here before, I'm happy to see you again. In today's video, we finished the first unit of this year, which is the organization of the human body. And today, specifically, we are going to talk about organs and systems, and also the internal environment in our body. So if this video sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Up to now, we've learned about atoms, molecules, and how they both together ending forming cells, the unit of life. And then in the second video, the previous one, we learned that when cells differentiate, they get new properties, those emergent properties, and they can form tissues with new functions. We learn about the four main types of tissues in our body. So today we are going to talk about what happens when we join different types of tissues. So when different types of tissues get together, we will get organs. So this is the next level, the first level we are going to talk about today. And finally, when we get together organs, when they join, they form systems. And systems, all the systems together, it's the human body. And just to finish the video, we will talk about the internal environment of the human body, because it's something that maybe you haven't heard before, but it's also really important. So let's do it. Organs are the result of getting different types of tissues together. For instance, in the heart, I gave you this example in the previous video as well. The heart is a mixture of epithelial tissue, cardiac, skeletal muscle tissue, of course blood, and also the nervous tissue is involved in the heart function. So all these tissues together, epithelial, muscle and nervous system, and also there is some conjunctive tissue as well, all together they form the heart, the organ. Or this organ, along with all the arteries, veins, all the vessels in general, will form the circulatory system. It happens the same with the kidneys and the bladder, okay? So it forms the excretory system. And as I said before, all systems together, they form the human body. So in this diagram, you can see which systems are involved mainly, okay, let's say mainly, not fully, in the three main functions of living beings. You know that the three functions that should perform a living being for being a living being are nutrition, interaction, and reproduction. So let's see which systems are involved in the human body in these functions. Regarding the nutrition function, we have 5 main systems. Of course, the digestive system is the one that will help us get the nutrients we need to give them to our cells later. Not only we need nutrients, we also need oxygen. So the respiratory system will be involved in getting that oxygen as well. Then we need something to transport all these nutrients and oxygen to all the cells in our body. That is the circulatory system. But the circulatory system has like 2 different systems which are really related. Actually, they are parallel usually, which is the circulatory system for the blood and then lymphatic system. The lymphatic system, maybe you have never heard before about it, is a system which transport a liquid called lympha. It's not blood. The lympha is mainly formed of course, water. It has other substances, maybe proteins also, but what the lymph mainly transport is white blood cells, so those blood cells that are related with the immune system, with the immune function, and also lipids, because lipids are able to be dissolved and transported in lymph, but not in the water in the blood. So the most part of the lipids will be transported in the lymphatic system. So we have two types of circulation in our body, blood and lymph, so circulatory system, lymphatic system. And after transporting all the nutrients to the cells and getting the waste, the toxic waste, toxins and waste in general that we don't want anymore in our cells, we need another system to excrete them. But we shouldn't confuse excretion with the excretory system. We have more types of excretion than or ways of excreting substances than the excretory system. The excretory system is urine. So the kidneys will filter the blood and it will get to the bladder, and the result is urine, and that's it. This is the excretory system. There are more types of excretion. For instance, in the nutrition, we excrete the feces when we don't have any more nutrients to get them from. By the skin, we excrete sweat. This is also a different type of excretion. And also, with our nose, we excrete the carbon dioxide from the cells. Okay, when they use the oxygen, the cells change the oxygen to carbon dioxide, and we expel it. Also, it's another type of excretion. So we don't have to confuse the excretion of food, the excretion of sweat or carbon dioxide with the function of the excretory system, which is excreting urine. Yes, this. Okay? And regarding the interaction function, we have three main systems, okay? We have the nervous system, which is the one in control of coordinating, getting information from the outside or the inside of our bodies, coordinating the answer and giving the order to perform that answer. There are two other systems related with or getting the information or doing the answer, the response, which are the musculoskeletal system, the locomotory system, we also know this by that name. So muscles and skeleton will move according to the orders of our brain, right, in the interaction function. And we also have, maybe this is one new for you as well, the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the system that secretes hormones. Hormones, you have heard about this, of course. So there is a system with different small organs like the thyroid or ovaries, testicles. They all release hormones to our body. Hormones usually are used to regulate functions inside our body. So the system in control of all these small organs around our body that secrete or excrete, secrete because it's internal, secrete hormones is the endocrine system, okay? Actually, the nervous system and the endocrine system are in charge, let's say, of the whole body functions. So we will find a regulation of the endocrine system in the nutrition function, of course. For instance, the blood sugar levels with the insulin, this is also performed by the endocrine system. And also in the reproduction, all the sexual hormones like testosterone, progesterone, the estrogens, every type of hormone that take part in the reproduction function in reality comes from the endocrine system. So we can say that the nervous system and the endocrine system, they have a main function. they are like the main characters in the interaction function, but they have a role in each of those three functions of the living beings. Okay. And finally, talking about reproduction, we have two main systems in this case, which is the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. They are in charge of creating the gametes. The gametes are those sexual cells that, when they get fertilized, they form the zygote, and from there a new individual. Okay. In the case of the humans, we call the male gametes spermatozoids and the female gametes ovules. The spermatozoids are created in the testicles, the ovules in the ovaries, and there are different type of organs in these systems that will be useful for the creation of these cells, or for they will participate in the process of reproduction. Okay. We will have, after this unit that we are finishing today, we will have two other units related with health in general, and from there we will start doing one unit for each of these functions. So we will learn more about nutrition, interaction and reproduction in the following units. And to finish today, we are going to talk about the internal environment. So in the previous video I told you all the organs inside our body, they are not floating inside. There is something connecting them, and it's not only for the organs, it's also for the cells. So the internal environment is not dry, it's humid, right? It's like water. All the cells in the body, they are next one to each other, but around there is an air, there is a liquid which is called the interstitial fluid or interstitial liquid. Interstitial means between tissues. Okay, so between tissues, between the cells in the tissues, we have this interstitial liquid or fluid. It is mainly water with some substances. They could be proteins, they could be sugars, they could be lipids that are being transferred from or to the cells. Okay, they are also their hormones. They can also be transferred. All the signals in our body will be transferred from the blood to the cells, going through the interstitial fluid, and this is what we call the internal environment. But the liquid in this interstitial fluid is not always the same. The body is continuously renovating this fluid. So when we produce it, we use it for a while, and when they have waste, for instance, it will be taken from that interstitial area, and usually it will pass to the lymphatic system we talked before. So the lymphatic system is going to be in charge of renovating continuously this interstitial fluid. In this picture we can see how it works. So from the outside, from the external environment, we will take the nutrients and the oxygen. Okay, they will get inside the organism, inside our bodies. After doing the digestion and the breathing process, oxygen and nutrients will get to the blood, and from the blood, going through the interstitial fluid, using that internal environment, they will enter the cells. They will perform all the internal processes, metabolic processes to get energy inside the cell, and after this, all the waste that the cells don't need anymore will get outside the cells through the interstitial fluid, through the internal environment, again to the blood, again to the organs that will perform the expelling functions, and to the outside. So this is the order. Outside, organs that perform nutrition or breathing. blood, internal environment, cells, internal environment, blood, organs, and external environment, okay? So this is the way, the real way that in which nutrients and oxygen and then carbon dioxide and waste goes through our body to the cells. And this is the end of the video and the end of the units. If you have any doubt, please leave it a comment, and of course, see you soon!